Livestock trade August feeders 357.40 up $1.02. August live cattle up 62 cents, 239.27. October lean hogs 91.75 up $1.82. Energy market October crude oil 63.85 up 33 cents. Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
Hey, Dan, what's cooking?
Hey, Jim. What do you think of the selection?
Yeah, well, having a great selection is super important. It's how you stand out. And you got to test and test some more to make sure you get it absolutely right. And by broadly accessing the industry's latest genetics and traits, we only recommend the best seed for your fields. And with answer plot data, response to scores, and other inputs, we take a whole acre approach. In other words, our priority is you. ROI? Oh yeah, you betcha. Finding some of the best options for your local growing conditions really helps maximize profitability.
Great. But I was talking about the burgers and dogs.
Oh, yeah, those too. Oh, fun.
Talk to your local Cropland retail seed expert today. Cropland Seed. Anything but typical.
Got any mustard?
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
It's a WHOW Morning Show. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, courtesy of Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. We continue with my guest on the Zoom, Piatt County Sheriff Mark Vogelzang. And Sheriff, it's easy to forget that policing is not always just about, booking bad guys and sliding over the hoods of cars. There's a lot of charity work that goes into it too. And you guys participated in some of that recently. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, St. Jude's Run is held every year to help raise some funds for the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Great cause. Every year they reach out to us. They've got a run where people, roughly about 35 runners, I think, this year, ran from Monticello all the way to Peoria.
Wow.
So they took off on Friday night, roughly about, I think it's 4 or 5 o'clock-ish. And then ran through the night all the way to Peoria. And obviously, when you're running on those roads, there's a lot of traffic. So we provide a little bit of an escort for them to make sure nobody comes up onto the group and has a crash. So every year, we always look forward to supporting that organization, that group, that fundraising event. And help raise some money for a good cause.
Yeah. Now, what does that look like logistically on the sheriff's department side of it?
It's just entails one deputy that follows them all the way there. This year, we broke it up into 3 different segments. In years past, we've usually had about 2 deputies that would rotate about halfway through, and then the second deputy takes them into Peoria. But each year, organizations or departments across the state will escort the runners all the way to Peoria. ISP, each of the local agencies will take their groups into Peoria. So it's a great event. If you're around next year and anywhere near Peoria, I'd recommend you stop by and watch it. It's a lot of fun. Yeah,
definitely. Well, Sheriff, I'd be remiss if I did an interview with a law enforcement officer and didn't talk about safety, and as I'm sure just about a week until Labor Day weekend. So let's jump into, what are you guys seeing? What are you responding to over Labor Day weekend, and how do we avoid that?
There for a while, last fall into spring, we had several crashes, some pretty severe. And right now, obviously, if you drive through the country, you'll see the corn it's at its tallest height yet.
Yep.
There's a lot of blind intersections, some uncontrolled intersections. So it's rare that maybe you meet another car in some of these locations. They are remote, but all it takes is that one time. So, slowing down, even though there may not be a stop sign at your intersection, the recommendation would be is that you do stop and make sure that there's no cars coming, because there have been some pretty serious accidents over the years at these intersections.
Yeah, yeah. So, and you'll have to forgive me. I was just speaking with DNR Conservation Officer Noah Workman. So hunting is on the mind a little bit, and obviously that's during the fall. And I'm curious if you guys are responding to anything with hunting, any issues that you guys are running into with that.
We've not had any issues with that, but along with harvest season coming up, hunting season coming up, you're starting to see a lot more deer moving.
Mhm.
So you're going to see an increase in those deer car collisions. So again, just paying attention for those deer. If you see one, there's probably 2 or 3 more that are right behind it. So anticipating that and being prepared to stop is so important.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I've heard a few different things about, if you're about to hit a deer, what you should do. So what do you think is like the best practice? I've heard, speed up. I've heard slow down. Tell me what we should do there.
No, I think you got to be careful when you're weaving and stuff as well, because now are you going to hit another car head on?
Mhm.
I think just being able to slow down and brake as fast as possible is what I have done in the past. But I myself have hit 2 deer over the years, and one was on the interstate. So when you're driving, at higher speeds, the biggest thing is probably the seatbelt that helped save me.
Yeah.
Just being able to still maintain control of that vehicle once you do have that impact, and pulling off to the side is so important.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Anything else on safety as we head into this fall season that you wanted to cover for us?
No, you're going to see a lot more tractors and combines that are hitting the road, usually the end of September.
Mhm.
You're starting to see those out and about. Again, those are huge pieces of machinery. They drive a little bit slower. The farmers are great people. They're trying to yield traffic as much as possible, but you just don't have the ability to get too far off the road with some of those pieces of equipment,
Yeah.
as big as they are. So, just slowing down, giving them a little extra space is so important.
Yeah, yeah, and another thing that comes to mind when it comes to the harvest season is dust storms. And I know we had that a little bit more during the planting season. We had a pretty big one out here in DeWitt County. But do you have any tips for if that dust gets kicked up as the harvest season kind of comes through?
Yeah, just it's going to happen. It's been very, very dry this year.
Yeah.
Making sure you're using your lights, flashers, things like that, to make sure that you can try to be a little more visible to traffic that might be having some visibility issues.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Again, Piatt County Sheriff Mark Vogelzang on the morning show. Sheriff, I'd love to jump into staffing. I've heard a lot of different things from different sheriffs about, sometimes you lose guys to the state patrol. And so I'd love to hear how staffing is going for you guys.
We're very, very fortunate. We've got a great team right now.
Mhm.
I think I'm probably in the minority in the sense that I am actually right now fully staffed.
Great.
We just had our newest deputy graduate from the academy yesterday.
Mhm.
So that puts us fully staffed, especially once he gets through his training on the street.
Mhm.
Our correctional staff, we're fully staffed there. I've got great dispatchers, but unfortunately one has decided she wants to retire. She's going to be retiring the end of October. So if you check our website or our Facebook post, we did recently just start taking applications to replace that dispatcher when she leaves here at the end of October.
Yeah.
So we're very, very fortunate, though.
Yeah. So as far as that dispatcher position, what are kind of the requirements, or maybe what does the day-to-day look like for that position?
I think the biggest thing is being able to multitask.
Yeah.
And remain very calm under pressure.
Mhm.
When you're getting a serious accident or a serious incident, we may have 1 or 2 dispatchers in there, so you're fielding a lot of phone calls, trying to dispatch police, fire, and EMS. That's probably the biggest thing.
Mhm.
The other thing you have to realize is that we are a 24/7, 365 operation.
Yeah.
So you may be working midnight shift with Tuesday, Wednesday off, and working holidays. So just be aware that that is a very likely possibility, because we bid on seniority.
Yeah.
So being the least senior person, you're probably going to have the shift that's least desirable. But again, it's a very rewarding job
Mhm.
to be able to help somebody. You're that first point of contact
Absolutely.
with somebody that's having a very, very bad day. When you have somebody that's calling in with a medical emergency or that severe traffic crash, being able to be very calm and interact with that person, trying to get the information and getting help out as fast as possible. Just, it's so important.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. When it comes to your officers, tell me a little bit. What do you credit that officer retention to? What makes them want to stay?
There's other departments where you can make more money.
Mhm.
Our department, I think we have a great community that's very, very supportive of our law enforcement, which some places do not have.
Mhm.
I'd say that's first and foremost, is that support that our community gives. We try to have good equipment, our squads, our training, our equipment. We really try to keep up on that. And then, just trying to have that support for our staff is so important.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'd love to speak to what are those day-to-day calls that your officers are responding to out in Piatt County?
Accidents,
Yeah.
probably first and foremost.
Mhm.
We get a lot of domestic incidents, some thefts, some things like that. But then every now and then, I mean, you have those high risk, low frequency type calls where you're having, a burglary in progress or, something more severe that happens. Small communities are not immune to that, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I've got just a couple minutes here left with you, and I'd love to talk a little bit about the relationship between the sheriff's office and the public. Not only the sheriff's office obviously supporting the public by providing that safety and that service, but how are you guys supporting the community, and how is the community supporting you?
Again, I go back to great, great staff, our deputies. We have done an awful lot of foot patrols this summer,
Yeah.
getting out, interacting with the community. Our 4th of July event, again, we're out there, we're talking to the people. We recently had a deputy assigned to the Mansfield homecoming event that was a week ago.
Mhm.
So, just getting out and having that interaction, talking to the citizens, that's what it boils down to, just having that interaction, that communication.
Yeah, yeah. What's the importance of having that community outreach?
Just you don't want to be disconnected.
Yeah.
There's always issues that, even within our small county, the villages tend to be smaller villages, but each village has, different issues, and attending some of those meetings, and getting out and doing some foot patrol and talking to people, finding out what's going on and how we can address those and keep people safe.
Yeah, yeah. Do you guys have any, are there any community events or anything that are coming up this fall you guys are going to be present at?
For the remainder of the fall, I think it's slowing down a little bit.
Well, I guess that's probably a good thing, right?
Absolutely.
Definitely. Again, Piatt County Sheriff Mark Vogelzang on the morning show. Anything else you wanted to cover before we wrap up here?
No, I'm just glad Seth finally takes some time off.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. As much as he gets on you about that, now you get to talk to him about it, right? Again,
Yep.
That is Piatt County Sheriff Mark Vogelzang on the morning show. Thanks so much for taking time for me today, Sheriff.
Thank you. Take care, Ben.
Yep, you as well. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
All right, Sheriff. Awesome stuff. Appreciate you taking time.